able to do it. That's great.
Yeah, I was quite pessimistic to be honest, but I was surprised to be honest.
Good. Good surprises. We all want good surprises.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So tell me, what is it that you were looking for?
Uh, well, I just want to maintain the same condition as in Turkey, but work in Portugal. That's
No. Let me backtrack here. These are separate things, right, Yusuf? So let's say if you are coming here on remote work,
okay.
you are coming here on remote work, right?
Yeah.
Initially, that's how you're going to come. Then you're going to ask to stay here in the company payroll in Portugal. That request, we will look into it. We are not granting any permanent contracts. It's important for you to know.
Yeah.
And so anything that we might or might not do, so when you are here, you can do two ways, right? Let me be more specific.
Okay.
You can arrive here, have all your documents, because you now only have the visa.
Yeah.
You need to have the NIF, the Social Security. You need to gather all documents so that you can be considered to be hired in a Portuguese payroll.
Okay.
Right? Now, you can in advance, and maybe you want to do that. Tell Rodrigo, listen, my D7 is ready. Mm-hmm. I am about to go to Portugal. I'm going to request remote work. You need to request a remote work policy, right? But I also am interested, upon having all my documentation, in being converted to the Portuguese payroll. How do we proceed now? Because we need to, this is not, let's say, automatic, right? Like Ingeborg, Dilo, lots of people need to be in agreement and supportive.
Okay.
So I think it's important that you start that conversation regardless, right? So that there are no surprises.
Exactly.
And, every case is different. So I really cannot say on behalf of the business, let's say of Ingeborg and Dilo, if this is approved, not approved, right? If it's approved, if this is approved, right, we are typically doing 1-year contracts. Right? We are not doing permanent, we have not done permanent contracts for situations like this.
Okay.
Yeah?
So
this is important for you to know. It means that even if you were to move to the Portuguese payroll, it would not be a permanent move.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But it does mean that you exit, if you were to be in the Portuguese payroll, you need to exit the Turkish payroll. Right? And the conditions are more around, like, same conditions are not, we need to make sure that, costs are not incremental to NMQ, and we need to look at the whole picture, right? So, but the first step really is to try and understand the business appetite to make this happen, right?
Yeah.
So, I can tell Rodrigo that we spoke. Right? I am assuming, Yusuf, that you are coming no matter what. Right? You are coming. Is that true?
Yeah, I'm coming.
Okay. So the first step that I recommend is that you formalize your remote work policy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And you request to do remote work from Portugal. From whatever date, the date that you are coming, you do 3 months because that's what we do, right?
Only 3 months I can.
Yeah, that's the remote work policy. Then we need, after those, so that's why I'm saying that you need to be very cautious on the way you plan. Because if you read the remote work policy, in the strict following of the policy, it's a 3-month policy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that will be a bit problem for me because I can't stay less than 6 months in Portugal.
Yeah, so maybe you want to start with that because you need to come here with something formalized, right? When were you thinking of coming?
6th of August.
You already have a ticket and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe you want to say, I'm just saying, right, that you intend in 2025 at least to stay until the end of the year. Mm-hmm. And you will do, I don't know if do you have vacation available?
Yeah, it will renew this. It renewed already this month. I have 20.
Yeah. So maybe you can say, I will, from this date to this date, I'll be on vacation, and then 3 months, because that more or less takes you to December, right? And then in 2026, you have another 3 months of remote work policy eligibility.
Yeah. The one thing
Right?
I didn't understand, so I will lose all my right in Turkey.
Right now, no. When you come with remote work,
Yeah.
you continue employed by Turkey,
Yeah.
right? Then if you move to the Portuguese payroll,
Yeah.
right, then you cannot be in two payrolls. But there is no payout because you are transferring. There's a protocol that we signed that at the end you come back, and then if you decide not to come back, you might lose. You can, but there's no payout of your severance or of any rights because you are not being terminated by NMQ, right? You are choosing to move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah?
Okay. And when I work there, which country's rule will apply on me?
You are a Turkey employee.
Okay.
So while you are in the Turkish payroll, you are a Turkey employee. So what does that mean? The public holidays are the public holidays of Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
The vacation is the vacation of Turkey, right? If there is collective leave, it's Turkey because that's the only country we have collective leave. While you are on remote work policy, you are still a Turkish employee.
Okay. And is there someone in the NMQ who had the same situation so I can ask him for me? Do you know?
Meaning what? Who is in remote work policy?
In Portugal.
On remote work policy? Nowadays, we don't have anyone on remote work policy.
Okay.
But there have been people, but what is your question, Yusuf? Like, in terms of what?
At the moment, I don't have any question, but I don't want to disturb you again and again.
You don't disturb me, but a good person for you to talk, and I can tell her that you might reach out to her, is Gül.
Gül, okay.
Yeah. Gül will be in the office in Turkey the week of the 20th of July, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So I will let her know, and maybe the week of the 20th, because she's in Mersin.
Okay.
She is where her parents live.
Okay.
But it's always a good person for you to talk. Good.
Okay.
But I think the one important thing is that nothing is guaranteed, Yusuf. Like, we need to, whatever it is that you are asking us, you need to formally ask so that people are able to react. And Rodrigo, Ingeborg, Boris, etc., right?
Mm-hmm.
Dilo, like all of these cases, and no one case is the same as the other. Right? For people moving around the company, it varies a lot. So in every situation, you need to make sure that there's a lot of clarity as to what you are asking for.
Okay.
Yeah? So, but one important thing is that, for instance, if you tell me right now, I want to be hired in Portugal, even if it was approved, I cannot because you don't have the Portugal documents.
Yeah.
Right? You are responsible to acquiring all those documents, right? The NIF, the Social Security, all of these things. Then you are able to work in Portugal for NMQ or for anybody that you choose to, right?
Yeah.
So you need to have the proper documentation. So it's a little bit of a catch-22, right? Because you are like, you need to move to get the documents, but you need the documents to be hired, let's say.
Let me explain my situation. To be honest, I have already a NIF number and I opened as well a bank account. That's
good for you.
Yeah.
How did you get your NIF already?
Well, in Borderless.io, that was a website. They are doing this. So I applied for this and then I received in 2 weeks. And for bank account, I asked my friend to be a reference. That's why when I was there, I applied for this and now I have as well from Millennium.
Nice. Millennium is very good because they are very online. They are very nice, right? Mm-hmm. You do not have, which is something that you need to have, is a Social Security, right?
Yeah.
But that you first need to have your appointment with IMA, I think. I don't know what the order of things.
Yeah. Once I get the visa on my hand with passport, because it's still on process, probably I expect that they give me as well an AIMA appointment. It will be ready, I hope, because with the recent yeah.
Yeah, IMA is a big mystery.
I know.
It's so messy. Like immigration here in Portugal is so messy. Right?
Yeah, you're right.
But you have been very good so far. Like you've been very lucky.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks to my how it's called, efforts, because I spent really a lot of effort and time for preparation.
Where are you gonna come to? Is it Lisbon?
I don't know yet. I still don't have any place to stay, but probably it will be Algarve or Albufeira or Lisbon.
Okay.
I have another question. Is it possible to, for example, if I come there, is it possible to arrange a big monitor for me? Because mine is quite big and it will be a little bit problematic to transport.
So it would be a question of us requesting approval to buy, right? You can work with Rodrigo on that, and then we don't have them in the office.
Okay.
There is one big monitor in the office, but that one belongs to Tiago. It's a personal monitor that he leaves in the office. So, like, we have only regular size laptop monitors, but you know, if that's a requirement for your job and it's approved, then we can purchase. Yeah.
Okay. And what else? Yeah. Just only the last question for clarification.
Sure.
Is there anything that I have to do at the moment except checking this remote work policy?
I think you need to first start with the remote work policy, right? I will talk to Good to let her know that you were going to talk to her. I will also talk to Rodrigo to say, you know, if the idea is that, you know, Yusuf would like to stay in Portugal on a Portuguese contract, then we need to start to talk about this, right? So that approvals are required, etc. And then, but I think the first step is to get the remote work so that you are able to come here, because you will continue for a while, especially because your visa is not yet ready, right? Yeah. So you will continue for a while in the...
sorry, my visa is already ready. The only thing I have to send it, and then they will stamp my visa. So it's ready.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know if you need to wait for your IMA appointment.
Yeah, you are right.
Because I don't know. It's my honest answer to you. We can work on this together. I just don't know enough. I don't know if what you have in your passport is enough to be hired or not, or it requires the IMA appointment for that to occur.
Okay.
Yeah. Regardless, you need a social security number to be hired. So that's also something that you don't have yet.
Yeah. One thing I didn't understand. So I have two options. One is with remote work, and the other is there something else? I just missed this. No.
No. I think the starting point is a remote work policy.
Okay. My intention as well is continue like this. So I don't want to be part of the directly Portugal, NMQ Portugal. So I can maintain the same condition as in Turkey. I mean, the salary I get or the day offs. My intention.
Yeah. So the problem is, Yusuf, this is not related to NMQ Portugal. This is for your information.
Yeah.
If you stay more than 6 months in Portugal, you become a fiscal resident of Portugal, which means you need to pay taxes in Portugal.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and NMQ Turkey cannot pay taxes in Portugal. So if you are an employee in Turkey, NMQ Turkey cannot pay taxes here. So it becomes an impossibility because you are a fiscal resident of a country. It's not going to happen in 2024, in 2025, I'm sorry, because you are going to live in Portugal from August to December, So you're going to be here maximum 4.5 months.
Okay.
Yeah? So 2025 is absolutely fine, but 2026, after 6 months in Portugal, you are a tax resident of Portugal. That's the law.
Okay.
Right? So then it becomes impossible. You're going to be a tax resident here, but you're employed in Portugal, in Turkey. I don't know if that's possible.
Okay.
Yeah? because I don't know how it works on tax residency. It's important that you talk to someone that really understands all of this, because I'm also not so familiar with the D7
visa.
the D7 visa and how it works, because D7 expects you to have passive income. Not salary.
Yeah.
Right? It means that you have, like, retired people use D7 because they have income from retirement, or you have an apartment that you rent and you have income from that. That's what brings the D7. I don't know how it works to employ someone that has a D7 visa. I have never done that before.
Mm-hmm.
So we will need to explore that as well. I am not sure. Yeah?
Okay. And we will do this by the time, you mean?
I think you need to do a lot of work.
Okay.
So it's not that I don't want to, it's just that I can't, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a very personal situation, your situation. So I think there are many things that you need to figure out, like, how does it work? So how long can you stay with a D7 visa in Portugal without becoming a tax resident? Yeah?
Okay, it's 6 months.
According to me, it's 6 months,
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah?
I know as well. It's 6 months.
Yeah. Then once you become a tax resident,
Yeah.
can you be a tax resident in Portugal without paying taxes? Right? Your employer is in Turkey. So you pay, like, we as a company pay taxes for your employment to the Turkish government, not to Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
So all of this becomes contradictory against, towards the, let's say, the immigration law.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you will need eventually to be employed by the Portuguese entity if you stay here. Or, I don't know, or you are employed by someone else, or you become an independent. So, for instance, you can also become a consultant, right? Someone that works as a freelancer.
Yeah.
That's a different story as well, because freelancers, you are responsible for paying your own taxes.
Yeah.
But, if you are employed by Portuguese entity, then you pay Portuguese taxes, and Portuguese taxes can be very high. So all of this needs to be considered, right?
Yeah.
So a number of big decisions, and maybe, that's why I'm saying, Yusuf, that it's convenient for you to come first with the remote work,
Mm-hmm.
so that while you are here, you can have many conversations without anything changing for you.
Okay.
Because you are still employed by Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
You have, let's say, worst case scenario, you discover that it's really not convenient for you financially to be employed in Portugal, let's say,
Yeah.
and you decide, you know what, this doesn't work for me. It's better if I go back to Turkey. You go back to Turkey and everything is fine.
Okay.
Right?
I understand.
And then when you are here, we start talking, you have your IMA appointment, we start looking, everything, we see if there's support from the business for you to stay on a 1-year contract. If so, how does it work? What would your salary look like in the Portuguese entity? All of this we can talk about, right? But I think the first step is come in the remote work,
Okay.
because then you don't have to do anything really. You just come and you continue. And maybe what you tell Rodrigo is that you are going to take 3 months of remote work and all of your vacation days. So if he's okay with you staying in Portugal until the end of December with 3 months remote work and the rest and your vacation, right? And that should be okay, because it's a little bit, it will be 3.5, like once you put your vacation, the holidays, everything else, you probably can stay until December on the remote work policy, right?
Okay, all clear.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And don't worry, you don't bother me. You can talk to me anytime, really. I'm sorry that I was half an hour late, but like, honestly, ping me for big questions, small questions, because this is a turbulent moment, right? Unfortunately, I wish I was more of an authority, but I'm not really a big authority, and the Portuguese immigration is so complex that I'm always worried that I say something wrong, right? Because I'm really not an expert. But we'll do our best to support you with whatever we can. Maybe ask the payroll vendor. We can ask people for opinions, questions, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, I will go on with remote work and check with Rodrigo and Gül.
Yeah, I will talk to Rodrigo now to let him know that we spoke. Yeah?
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you, Alex.
Bye.